Hello, it is me, it is I. I do not know what I am doing or saying or anything at all. I just figured I'd try something new. And what is something new? Talk about my favorite game ever, Hytale. That's something new, that's something new. I love Hytale, I love Hytale. I don't know, I've not done much recently. I've unlisted some videos, decided I'm gonna try something new. And here I am trying to decide, hey, I want to talk about Hytale. You know, I like to talk about Hytale. I like Hytale quite a lot. If you know me, and you've seen me online on Discord recently, you would know that I like Hytale. So I figured I just go over some of the blog posts recently, skim over some of it, talk about some of it, give some people that might not know, some base level information. So what is this? This is Hytale's first FAQ, frequently asked questions. Hytale's very first one. Posted by Lyle, Leal, whatever. Patrick Leal Durbick, Executive Director at Hytale, answer some of the community's questions, common questions online. So stuff like, will Hytale be on Steam? No, not initially, but they might do it later. That's basically the response. And as for me, like, yeah, that could be cool. I might be different here. I don't see the point in putting Hytale on Steam. I don't. For me personally, I don't like Steam. I just don't. I don't use it like almost at all. So for me, I'm like biased against Steam. I guess I don't know. I don't care much for Steam, so I don't care if Hytale's on Steam or not. I'm perfectly fine with having another launcher to use or whatever instead of having to do it all through Steam or whatever. Is there a console version? No, not early access. Maybe later though. They want to do it at a later stage, but not now. But maybe later. Can I play Hytale on mobile? Not for early access, but maybe later. You know, I don't really care for either of these. I'm not a big console gamer or mobile game. My phone barely opens Discord as is, genuinely. I don't care for that. But maybe you, someone in the audience, maybe you will care for that. Maybe you'd like to be able to play on the PS5 or whatever, or on your iPhone, like 17.8, whichever number it's on now. Maybe you'd want to play on that, and more power to you if you can do that. You just gotta wait until it's out of early access, you know? So this is one I like. What is an each game edition? And they say they're gonna reveal some of it soon, which would be pretty cool. Everyone kind of just is like, yeah, it's probably going to be cosmetic stuff, because you got $20, and I think $35 for the supporter edition, and then $70 for the Curse Breaker edition or Founders edition. I think those are the prices. And everyone's like, yeah, it's most likely going to be cosmetic stuff, because here they say we need to make sure that you look good. You look good doing so for playing the game and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just cosmetic stuff. I'm gonna get the $70 version because I like Hytale and I want to support them. Can you upgrade your editions later? Yes, if you didn't purchase Cursebreaker or whatever, you can go from like standard, which is $20, to Cursebreaker, which is 70, and you just gotta pay the difference, which would be $50. That's what they say here. How long are these editions available? Only be available during early access. Can I gift Hytale? They don't have gifting implemented. They're working hard to get implemented. Pre-purchase bonus? No. Will Hytale support regional pricing? Working with our partner to get this working for a limited number of countries to start with. It probably won't be done in time for pre-purchase, but doing their best to make it happen. They've been concerned about accomplishing this in time for a while, and so that's why the standard edition is $20 across the globe. That's a pretty low price, even for the countries where 20 USD is still pretty high compared to other games. Will there be pets and animal taming? Not yet, but one day. Fishing system? Not yet, but one day. Will Hytale have a voice proximity chat? They're pretty close to doing that. It won't be early access though, which I think that's pretty cool. Cause like the easy comparison is Minecraft with simple voice chat, but that's a mod. It's not the base game. I can talk more about Minecraft and base game versus modded and differences to Hytale later. I plan on going through, like I said, a few of these to make a big-ish video, just quickly going over this stuff, just to kind of get my foot in the door or whatever. Will there be cosmetics you can purchase for Hytale's development? You can get special avatar cosmetics with the early access editions, which is them confirming right up here, which is them confirming this right up here. They might offer extra cosmetics once the game's in a better state when they introduce mini games, but no pay to win. And I love that, no pay to win. No pay to win at all. Hopefully no loot crates or gambling stuff either. But no pay to win is nice. And I like that they will keep adding free cosmetics over time. Because I'm a poor person, okay? I am quite a bit poor. I don't have the most amount of money. But I also like cosmetics. And I can usually never participate in the cosmetics because I'm poor. But if they keep on adding free cosmetics, then that means I get to participate in those cosmetics. And I like that. That it allows me a way for me to participate when I normally wouldn't be able to, which I value that a lot. It helps keep the base price low, grow the community, cover long-term costs like updates, live services, minigame infrastructure. Official avatar cosmetics is the one area they reserve for ourselves. Might have the community involved later. Modders can still, mod the game. Has a lot of the Hytale's gonna have a whole lot of modding support, so the modders can mod in their own cosmetics, their own avatars, whatever. They will have a lot of power. Third-party servers are allowed to override cosmetics and stuff like that. And the devs might work directly with artists to sell official in-game to sell their work in the official in-game store eventually. Will the game be available in my local language? Initially, Hytale will only be available in English, but the game is already built with a localization mind. We had a very good experience with Crowdin, so with the community's help, we can create an amazing localized experience for everyone. Maybe a few of you want to bring back Pirate Speak. Yar. Does Hypixel take a cut from my third-party server? Simon made a tweet about this already. Over a week ago, I think. Taking 0% for the first 2 years from any third-party servers. A modder who wants to monetize their work. There'll be no cost at all during that time. And then after that 2 years is up, Simon said on Twitter that he would be... that they would be looking at their options, and they would obviously be discussing it with the player base as well, instead of just going and say, hey, give us 5% now. They're going to actually discuss it, which is good. What happens after 2 years, which goes in this. Can't promise a specific percentage, it'll depend on many factors. They will never exceed 20% though, and they will never even reach 20% if they go the way that they want things to go. In an ideal scenario, a third-party service, self-sustaining, has its own creates great content for the player base, has its own moderation, has a fair and transparent monetization. A server like that would need little to no attention from us and therefore benefit from a much lower percentage. At a later date, if we decide to offer hosting and moderation to partners, then the percentage might be higher. How do you combat scalpers for unique usernames or those belonging to a well-known person? Let's say you're trying to get the name Redoons or whatever, right? You're going for the name Redoons. If you snipe the name, they're gonna basically say, hey, that's bad. It will go against our TOS and EULA, which they've not revealed their TOS or EULA yet, but I like this little hint to what might be in it, which is username stuff. Don't block these big YouTubers from getting their name. Don't go into this with the sole purpose of reselling these rare names or trading or whatever. I like that. Don't do the bad stuff. I like that. Can I support my favorite content creator? If they participate in our creator program, you can use their code at checkout. I won't give you any benefits directly. The person you are supporting will be grateful as they'll allow them to create more of their content, more of their excellent content for you and many others. The code will be 5% initially, so at 5%, if you buy Curse Breaker, just $70, 5% cut. That's like, what, $15? Saw that on Twitter somewhere. But yeah, you have to apply You have to apply to for the greater program and stuff. It will be 5% initially. They plan on raising to 7% eventually. So yeah, that's this main bulk of, brand new news. I say brand new as if this didn't come out hours ago. I'm totally not late. I'm totally not struggling to English. A few days ago they released hardware requirements, which I'm not gonna go too far into this. I'm just gonna I want to like quickly skim through this next one since these are older developmental things to go on. But what they say is their minimum stuff, their worst performing stuff would target 30 plus FPS at 1080p on low settings. Recommended would be 60 plus frames, 1080p on high settings. And then recording and streamer, which would be stable streamer with high quality video capture and streaming up to 1440p. Which I think those are fair benchmarks for each of them. Each one is a fair benchmark. So for minimum, you need 64-bit Windows 10 or Windows 11. You need at least Core i5 7500 or an AMD Ryzen 3 1200. Um, your RAM is between 8 and 12 gigabytes, what you need for minimum. The GPU, you either need Intel UHD Graphics 620 or AMD Radeon Vega 6 for integrated, or for dedicated, you need GTX 900 or AMD Radeon 400 or Intel Arc A series. You need at least OpenGL 4.1 or Vulkan 1.3 and DirectX 12. SSD with 20 gigabytes of free space for the storage of the game. I think they say somewhere later in this the game size like around 8 gigabytes. And then, network, you need Wi-Fi, not much, 2 megabits a second. Based on the benchmarks, they got 30 to 34 at 1080p, and they recommend setting view distance to 192 blocks, which is their standard. They say they're building the game around 102 blocks view distance. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what they said. And we have the recommended one. Intel Core i5 10400, AMD Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is, the standard. Integrated graphics would be Intel Iris, Xe graphics, Z graphics, Xenon, I don't know. AMD Radeon 660M, dedicated would be a GTX 900 series, AMD Radeon 400 series, Intel Arc A series. Wow, that looks really familiar. I wonder where I could have seen those exact things before. I wonder where. Once again, OpenGL 4.1, Vulkan 1.3, DirectX 12. They recommend NVMe SSD with 20 gigabytes of free space, 8 megabytes a second for multiplayer. Storage requirements. Installation size is going to be 8 gigabytes. Save game size in exploration mode. 5,000 with 5,000 blocks is roughly 661 megabytes. 27 kilobytes per 32 by 32 chunks, so the chunks are going to be 32 by 32, whereas in like Minecraft it's 16 by 16, but here it's at 32 by 32. They recommend at least 20 gigabytes available storage, with 20 gigabytes being a safe bet to enjoy the game for a long duration. SSD is strongly recommended because it's an SSD, of course it is. They go over network requirements and stuff. The game is a bit more taxing on the hardware in single player than it is for multiplayer, because single player it is running the host as well as the server on your own computer, whereas with multiplayer it could be the server could be hosted somewhere else and you're just hosting the client on your computer. So depending on your view distance, you would need more stuff as well. For network requirements, you can always play in offline mode, which in offline mode you don't need this for offline mode, obviously. This is for multiplayer only. You see more blocks, obviously. I'm also talking about the other network stuff as well, from what I've just read. I read through this the day it came out, and I'm just skimming through it right now, trying to remember everything I thought of and said there. Anyways, recording stream requirements, 1440p at 60 FPS. Once again, same stuff as always. Intel Core i7 10700K or AMD Ryzen 3800X. 32 gigabytes of RAM, which that's quite a lot. RTX 30 series, Radeon RX 7000 series, Intel Arc A series. Strongly recommend the use of AV1 HEVC for video recording storage with at least 10% or 50 gigabytes of free space available on an NVMe SSD. For the best performance, recommend using a separate drive for video recording, which obviously then I'm just sitting here, why are they flexing? Why? You don't gotta show off you have that Matt. That's a really good computer. Our internal I cannot English. One internal benchmark, AMD Ryzen 9 9950X or the 9950X, whatever. NVIDIA RTX 5080, 64 gigabyte DDR5 RAM. Yeah, 64, bro. And 400 FPS, like, what's it, like 4K or something? I don't remember. It's like a wide monitor, I think. At 768 blocks. Anyways, like I was saying earlier, single player is most demanding because you run the full game client and a simulation of the server on your computer, whereas for multiplayer, you're going to be handling graphics and gameplay, whereas the server can do the server stuff, NPCs, that kind of stuff. But anyways, talking about the hardware requirements brings me to the point about about mods. Minecraft versus Hytale. And we can talk about this more with different aspects of it. But performance is a big thing for me because I have a pretty good computer, sure. But it has its issues because I'm pretty sure there's some stuff in my computer that's broken. Like, it runs well, but like if I try to render a video, it will just crash sometimes. If I try to play Red Dead Redemption 2, it just doesn't work. I can't even change the graphic settings or else it will just crash. So my computer has its issues, so I like looking at this stuff and being a bit hopeful, like, okay, maybe I'll be able to run this game. I should be able to run the game based on this stuff. That doesn't mean much since my computer doesn't like to run sometimes. But then I compare that with Minecraft. With Minecraft, I can run Minecraft, sure. Obviously I can run Minecraft, I have Minecraft videos in the past. But to have Minecraft run well and look good doing so, you have to download usually a handful, 5 or more performance mods. Sometimes, usually like closer to like 8 or 10 or something around that. A bunch of different performance things to make it run as smoothly and as nicely as possible. Whereas for Hytale, it's all going to be baked into the game. You're not going to have to download any extra performance mods just to be able to play the game. Although I'd imagine there's going to be some people that are going to provide those services to give an even bigger boost to performance anyways. But that's why I like this. And it even goes, it even goes further with, a lot of the building and creative side of stuff. In Minecraft, you have to download World Edit or Axiom or whatever to get the good building tools. World Painter as well, whatever, you know? But in Hytale, it's going to be baked into the game. Oh, for Minecraft, you have to get, in Minecraft, you have to get like replay mod or flashback. But in Hytale, it's baked into the game. Which I like. I like a lot. It gives you a lot more freedom, do whatever you want within the game without having to downloading anything extra. Mods for increased requirements, large complex server logic, or extended view distance can push both CPU and the GPU harder, whatever, yeah. Okay, I was slightly wrong earlier. Their minimum requirements are running at 192. They recommend 384 though for block view distance. So I was slightly off earlier. But here's 192 from above, 384 from above, 192 from player perspective. You get to see, you know, little skeleton guy, just a tree, some rocks. Here's 384. You got the same skeleton guy. There's a little thing over there. You can see a little bit further. More rocks, more trees. Here's 768. Now you got a tower, some more rocks. You can see some trees over there in the fog. Here's 1024. tower is still there, a lot more trees, and goes up pretty high up back over there. Also, I just now only noticed, you can see a skeleton right there. Is that the only one you can see is another skeleton in? No, you can see him right there as well. Right there, and you can see a skeleton right there. That's the very first time I noticed that. I'm not gonna lie, I know computer stuff, but I don't feel like reading any of this. um, they're still working on stuff for Mac and Linux, which is, I'm a Windows user, I don't care for either. um, a lot of inquiries about the Steam Deck, but they don't have the ability to test it right now, and don't plan to launch on Steam until determine our ability to comply with Steam's policy, as the other blog post I talked about. Here is where they just announced that the early access is going to be on January 13th, with the pre-purchase pre-ordering opening December 13th. So in like 10 days. That's pretty much all this one was about. Hytale creative mode, they went over some creative mode stuff. If you've not seen the video, I recommend watching the video. A way I could describe it is like, it's like Axiom, but I think it looks better than Axiom. And it looks easier to understand than Axiom does. They would have prefab editors just built into the game where you can go into the creative menu, look for prefabs, edit them however you want, copy them from the prefab world, paste them into your own world wherever you want to paste them at with the creative tools. They have their own machinima thing with the timeline down over here. You put down the markers here, there, whatever. Wherever you want in whatever frame you want it to be on. Then you play it back, and then through the commands you can increase or decrease the speed of the playback. They have a lot of different shape tools to place and destroy. I think it's they they got this plane system where you can put down a plane, and you could build blocks just onto that. You can move it forward, backwards. You could rotate it around, make it go different orientation, diagonal as well. It's really cool. I recommend watching this in your own free time. I'm not going to watch it for the sake of my video because I've already watched it and I don't feel like sitting here for another 27 minutes. Well, I think it's pretty cool. They have a lot of other cool stuff as well. They go over all the tools here. If you want to read through it, just pause. And then they built a castle here, which I'm not much of a builder. It looks fine to me. I'm more interested in like what biome this is in, you know, that kind of stuff, like where is it situated, like how custom of a biome did they make for this specific build here? How much did they terraform? Like I said, I watched this when it came up, but that was a few days ago now, or a little bit ago. So I don't remember how much it terraformed or whatever. Modding and strategy, which I'm just gonna, like, I'm not gonna lie. None of this makes any sense to me at all. I like looking at this guy, which this guy is Goblin Duke. I like looking at that guy. He gets the nightly seal of approval. I don't understand this at all. I don't understand any of this. My brain feels smooth, my head feels empty. But I'll scroll all the way down. If no one's seen this, they can take a look at it. Pause the video, you know, whatever. The only thing I am interested about is the visual scripting stuff. Because I kind of understand this. Like, it's like, okay, you want to have this thing, here's the inputs, make it go into here, and here's the outputs, here's what will happen. That's how I kind of understand it. I might be wrong, but it's like you have this thing which is tied to this thing over here in the game, but then you have these things that act upon it, and this acts upon these, or these are the results. I don't know how to describe it, but like in my mind, I see how the visual scripting works. I'm just bad at explaining it, I'm pretty sure. And maybe I'm explaining it wrong, but this makes some level of sense to me. Because it's like, okay, well, from here to there, that makes that, to go to there, to then to go to these three. It makes sense to me. And then I don't think I have to go to Hytale as saved for you to know what this most recent, not most recent, but this other recent blog post. I don't think I have to go look at what Hytale as saved means for everyone to know. They also have other stuff like that. They have a glider they're working on too, I guess. They have plans for a grappling hook as well. I think they might have other tiers of gliders, which I'd like to see. Like I personally like the idea of like having like one kind of glider that can fly faster but falls quicker, another kind of glider that falls slower but flies slower, or like turns in the air quicker or stuff, something like that. I think that could be interesting. Not a game dev though, but I think that's cool. I mean, it goes without saying, but I think everyone should be at least a little bit excited for Hytale because if whether you're gonna play it or not, whether you're a Minecraft diehard or not, I think you should be excited for Hytale because if Hytale does well, then whether anyone likes it or not, that will show that it is competition for Minecraft. And therefore, hopefully, Minecraft will do more as well. Minecraft is very popular for a reason, and I'm hoping Hytale will be a good competitor. Obviously, it's not going to kill Minecraft. But and I know many others have a whole host of issues with Mojang. And I personally do not like Mojang or Minecraft at all. I don't like them at all. The only reason I play Minecraft is one for the movement aspect, because I like movement games, so I like the movement Hytale a lot. But two, that's for me that's just about the only game I can play with my friends. So I'm hoping, in addition to Hytale being this great game, and that's everything I've always dreamed of, I also hope that it will push Mojang to do more than just what feels like the bare minimum. Make it the game that I think it deserves to be, you know? But with that, I think I've yapped for far too long, and this is probably going to be a video that does not do well at all. Oh well. If you watched and you stayed to the end, thank you. I appreciate it. See ya.